Shamar.
What's going on YouTube?
Washington.
This is boy, Martin for here once again. Hey guys, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jabari4 here once again, and we are here to recap on episode 9 of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, season 6. So this episode review is going to be fairly short because I've narrowed down a lot of the stuff that I really felt like I had something to say or mention about in regards to the show. So we're going to go ahead and get to it. So we left off last week where there was Lyrica just moved out, okay, and Ray and A1 are in his house like looking like what the hell's going on, like where's Lyrica, and he's trying to be like where's my son, this, that, and the fourth, which is all logical, you know, concerns. But we end off last week where somebody was like allegedly walking around in their house, and I'm like, is this supposed to be a burglar? Is this, you know, Lyrica coming back to get something? So this is where we pick up this week, where it's actually Lyrica's friend Sia walking into the house, and we're asking her like, what is she doing here, you know? And she's like, oh, you know, I'm just here to feed the dog and blah blah blah. And I'm like, girl, I'm gonna need you to learn how to lie better, because if A1 still lives here, okay, if he still lives here, why would he not come and feed the dog? When Lyrica left, she mentioned that was his dog. So if he still lives here, why would you feel the need to come and feed the dog? Or why would it be like, oh, Lyrica sent me to feed the dog? Like that doesn't make any sense. Why would she need you to do that? You know what I mean? So Ray J pointed that out. I was like, girl, you are here and sent to spy to kind of see what was going on with A1 and try to get some information out of her. That's why you are here. Okay? Came here to feed the damn dog. Bitch, please. So she's like, oh, well, you need to check with your wife. Because, you know, A1 is, of course, is asking, like, well, no, where's my son? You know, and she's like, oh, well, now that's going to be your concern. It's just like, bitch, this ain't even got nothing to really do with you. I mean, I know that's your friend, and I get that. But you getting a little bit too involved. You need to let Lyrica handle her own marital business. Because this is what happens a lot of times when people include their friends in their relationship, is relationships go up and down. Okay, now, honestly, their relationship has a lot more down than up. But regardless of the fact, relationships go up and down. And more often than not, you tell your friends about like the bad stuff because you want to vent. You want to get things off of your chest. So you're unloading all this negative stuff, all the bad things about this person, so that your friend only has a negative, you know, impression of the person that you're dating. And of course, not every time, but this is the case of why you don't want to include your friends in all your business. Okay, you can share some things, but you don't need to be sharing like all the, you know, drama and, you know, turmoil going on in your relationship. Bad idea. She being so involved, she of course is gonna have all this negative connotation to about A1, and she's gonna try to protect her friend and whatnot. But girl, I'm gonna need you to sit down. A1 is like, I'm gonna have to file just a missing person report. She's like, do what you gotta do. Like, I'm gonna need you to handle that. I can't have you, my friend, out here looking stupid. Baby, your friend has herself out here looking stupid, honestly. Because she was supposed to get rid of this man 2 seasons ago. I swear they be having the same issue every time, just with a different person. If it ain't A1 messing with somebody, it's Lyrica sleeping with Safari, and somebody got somebody else pregnant, somebody on the Mile High Club. Like, it's always something, and they were supposed to not even come back on this season, but here they are. But anyway, let's move on past that. We get to this infamous interview that Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked has with K. Michelle. I'm not gonna lie, I was entertained and I laughed. But it was messy, but then again, it's Jason Lee, who is the messiest person on the show. Yeah. I was about to say, wait, is she? Because Moniece is still on the show. But Moniece's messy is not to Jason's messy. I'm sorry. It just doesn't compare. It's close, but it doesn't compare. So K. Michelle is on this show, and of course they're asking about how, April was apparently taking this person's, like, keeping this person's spot warm, or she was like a temporary measure. And we all know that April, in previous episodes was fired because Jason Lee keeps saying that they were losing sponsorships, they were losing, viewers and interaction. And so he's like, hey, it ain't even personal. It's like you aren't working out with the formula of the show, which, I mean, in that kind of environment, like radio shows, and you're part of a panel, especially one that talks about celebrity gossip, people like to come to that show to laugh a lot, but people like to come to that show to hear different perspectives. And apparently April was not giving the proper, I guess, African American female perspective, as she didn't have, she wasn't able to put as much input as I guess Jason Lee would like. I don't know if there are episodes that she was on are available to listen online. If somebody knows, leave that in the comments. But I mean, April isn't the biggest personality. She's not. But when you're a part of a panel, I mean, it's good to be a part of a show that discusses things that you're interested in, or things that you feel like you can give an opinion on. Because that'd be like me getting on a sports broadcast show. What I'm gonna say? I don't care about nothing that's going on here. So I would be terrible to co-host a sports broadcast show because I don't give a damn about sports. Okay? That's why I talk about Drag Race. They talk about, of course, her being fired, and then K. Michelle reiterates the fact that, she wouldn't have them on tour. Like, she doesn't believe that they should go on this tour, and how it's just gonna be a mess, and it doesn't really make any sense. And Jason Lee gonna ask her, like, would you have them open for her, or would you have them open for you? She said never. Would you ever have them feature on any of your projects? Absolutely not. Because I think K. Michelle gets the same feeling from April that Brittany B got when April was like in the studio. How she wants to do all this music, and she wants to focus on it, and this, that, and the fourth, which is good. I can admire that. I would like to do music one day to suit myself. But April, they get the impression that April is just a pretty face. And she feels like, oh, because I'm pretty and I can maybe hold a tune, that I should be able to, rise to the top, I guess. So, and K. Michelle went on this rant of how people just kind of come into this game because they're pretty. And when there's people who have been grinding their whole life to be able to sing and make a living out of it, which I can understand, because it does seem like there's a lot of times where people who aren't really serious about the craft just want to get in it just for the money, and they feel like they're not even really all that good at it. They just feel like because of who they are and maybe what they look like, they should be offered this top spot, and that's really not how it works. So I could feel her on that. She went on to talk about how she wants to continue to do this country album, and how, black people originated country music, and then, the Caucasian community just kind of swooped in and sort of took it over for themselves. And I don't think I knew that until maybe within the past decade or so, that country music originally came from African Americans. I'm like, well, shit, we just made every damn thing, okay? We done made the jazz, we done made the country music, of course we, hip hop and R&B, like we the best. I'm just gonna throw that out there, but needless to say, she wants to work on this country album. She feels like, country roots are in her blood. She's from Memphis, Tennessee. She wants to do the album. I agree. And what's his name? The guy who was feuding with Zell, Mr. Ray. There it is. So when Mr. Ray, K. Michelle, Apple Watts, and Brittany B went to this little country nightclub and had a little hoedown, he did make a good point of how we are trying to accept, Mickey Monday in the genre of hip hop. And so it's very often how, and K. Michelle mentioned, like, we don't defend our own genres, as far as like hip hop, R&B, and music that's in modern day associated with African Americans. We allow other people to come in, do their thing, but they don't want to allow people to come into their genre and sing country or do whatever because of, you know, racial friction. You know what I mean? So, which is actually very true, because we've allowed Miley to come and do bangers. She hops in and out of the hip hop genre like a motherfucking bunny rabbit. Like, and we've well, I don't know if accepted is the right word, but we tolerate artists like Iggy Azalea. Nobody really has a problem with what Eminem does. So it's like we've allowed all these people to sort of come into what would mainly be our genre. But when we want to go over to, like, say, the European pop realm, or, you know, country music, for example, it's never looked at favorably. It's very hard for people with, you know, that are just people of color to break through in, like, the pop realm. Every now and then, very few people can kind of make it over there. And honestly, I mean, this can turn to an entirely different topic, but as far as music goes, I've always felt like, now follow me on this, I've always wanted Kelly Rowland in particular to sort of take that dance pop route that she was on with Here I Am, that she kind of started. Like, she was doing Commander. She has a song on there called Down for Whatever. And there's another song I think she was promoting that was called, like, Forever and a Day. Oh, and When Love Takes Over. Like, her voice with that sound was dope. And I was, you know, I was into it. I didn't think I would be, but because of colorism and because she is a dark-skinned woman, they ain't really too keen on, you know, accepting. They feel like, oh, and it's not even always people outside the race. It could be black people too. We want them to be like, oh, well, we want you to sing R&B music, or we expect you to have this particular sound, and it's very limiting. So I say all that to say, before I get way too off on a tangent, I say all that to say that I respect what K. Michelle is doing, trying to, you know, do and create what kind of music she loves. Like, as an artist, you want to create, you don't want to be stifled by what society says you should be doing. So I can salute her for that. So shout out to K. Michelle. Now, Princess is launching a makeup line, and honestly, this feels like another one of those reality TV. Rue, I can't play. Look, my dog that came up here with his little squeaky toy and want me to look. Listen, go get it. I love my baby to death. I'm just gonna let him. Now, we can't be doing all that while I'm trying to record this video now. I'll play with you when I'm done, okay? I ain't even gonna edit this out because I know y'all love Rufus. Let me let him come on camera real quick so y'all can see him. Oh, really fat. Say hi, Ru. Say hi. Hi. So he wants, every time I try to record something, he wants to try to get my attention and play with his little toys or whatever. But I'm gonna see you later, okay? All right? Get out. So, anyways, back to Princess. Princess wants to launch her cosmetic line, okay? Prella Cosmetics. Sure. Why not? Open a business, open your business. But what was interesting is that came from that whole conversation that she had with, no, give me this. Boy, I'll throw it later. What came from that conversation is from Jason Lee and Zell, is the fact that we learned that Zell Swag is bisexual. Now, I did not know that. I don't know if he's previously in previous seasons talked about liking women, but he brought up a good point on how, in generally, especially with black men are hardly ever accepted to be bisexual. That you're either straight or gay, and that if you tell somebody that you're bisexual, then you're just automatically gay. So I feel like that's a definite problem or a definite issue that a lot of us in the black community can relate to, those of us in the LGBT community, because they are a member of us. It is perfectly possible to be attracted to both sexes. I definitely am an advocate that sexuality is fluid, you know, let people love whoever they want to love because there's so much hate out here. We might as well just love each other, okay? However way you want to do it, just as long as it's with two consulting adults. let me make that part clear because we don't go down that rabbit hole, but y'all get what I'm saying. So shout out to Zell and his bisexuality, honey. So now that April has come back from Chicago, that she was there last week, she wants to meet up with Mo because she doesn't feel comfortable doing the tour. And we're like, okay, you know, I get it. And of course, I mean, I've shout out to Moniece because Moniece has been very cooperative and very non-combative this season, which I appreciate. Oh, I'm over here tearing shit up. She respects that if she's not ready to do the tour, you don't have to do the tour. But what she doesn't want is like, okay, I don't want you to not do the tour because you feel like outside influences are discouraging you from doing the tour. You know what I mean? And of course, we all just saw the interview that Jason Lee did with K. Michelle. And he's like, I don't want you to feel like because K. Michelle's on the radio talking about that's not going to work, that it's pointless, all that you shouldn't do the show. And I feel like Mo is also like torn between trying to make up with April and the fact that she's a loyal friend for K. Michelle. So they're kind of like this butting heads. But honestly, in situations like this, when you're friends with two people that don't like each other, it's honestly best to just, stay over here with this person and stay over here with this person. Never try to, commingle. Don't bring each other up to the other person and just try to stay neutral. And I feel like Mo is sort of taking that route. And she's so much more calm this season. I'm really appreciating, this new, more mature version of Moniece. So we get to this Prilla party for Princess. And when Paris shows up, and of course she's greeting Princess and hey, how you doing, baby? Good to see you, blah blah blah. And then when Moniece pops in, she's kind of like, okay. The last time I saw them together, they was about to throw a chair at their ass, which I mean is true. And Paris was like, well, I guess everybody just motherfucking kumbaya up in Hollywood. Which is true. That's a fair assessment because the last time that I saw y'all was about to assault each other, and while she was pregnant, I have reason to believe and look at you side-eyed like, what's really the tea? But that wasn't even the biggest thing. So we get to April and Jason Lee being in the same room. Child, this whole interaction was, I don't know why it felt so strange to me. Because, of course, April is upset for not only just being fired, but I guess the way that she was fired, in addition to the fact that he had this interview with K. Michelle immediately after just dogging her out. It's like, bro, you say you don't like me. You say you didn't like what I did on the show. You say I was boring, this, that, and the fourth, but you still feel the need to talk about me the next week with somebody else that don't like me. So I can kind of see why she would be frustrated and annoyed with Jason Lee, as everybody else would be. And I feel like Jason had every right to fire her. It's his company, it's his brand. If it wasn't working out for him, especially financially, dealing with sponsors and whatnot, then she should have been fired. Now, his way of going about it, that was bad, okay? Because he kind of told her, like, you're boring, in so many words. You're boring, you didn't really talk about anything. The only time that you ever talked was, or like the energy that you're giving me right now, like how you're being so annoyed with me right now, I wish you had that same energy on my show, then you probably would have a job right now. And not everybody can do that. Like, not everybody wants to be that person all the time, especially as a line of work. So yeah, Jason kind of dropped the ball on that one because I would be pissed too, especially if you he could have just been like, things are not working out. We wanted you to be, this sort of way. We wanted you to have this sort of energy, and it doesn't seem like you're able to provide that, so we have to let you go. Sorry to say. I feel like April would have been a lot more receptive to that, but because Jason Lee is Jason Lee, we got what we got. Okay? So she's going off. She's, cussing him out. Saying that, I don't fuck with you. You don't fuck with me. That blah blah. And so she feel like she getting ready to fight. But instead of fighting, she just leaves out the room, child. And I'm like, okay, sure. I don't. It's girl. I don't know. Something about just. It felt so forced to me. But then again, a lot of these interactions feel a little forced than they should be. But be that as it may, after she cools down and Jason was kind of like, I don't know why she mad. I just understand. We just talking. We just having a conversation. You knew what the fuck he was doing. It's just the reason why he tried to pretend like he didn't know why A1 was pissed at him when he saw him again at that showcase. Girl, please. Anywho, April decides to come back and just be like, look, I don't fuck with you. You don't fuck with me. I don't talk about you. You don't talk about me. And we good. Because she's like, oh, well, in my old days, I was raised in the hood. I wanted to throw hands, and this is me being mature about it. I'm like, child, I guess. But that was that, child. We'll see how they proceed next week. Then we get to this Vegas trip that was planned. It's like Apple Watts going. She's bringing Brittany B. Paris and Zell are going. And who else was on the boat, child? I don't remember. But those are the people that we care about. Because as soon as Brittany B stepped her ass onto that damn bus, Zell was already calling her all types of zebras. He was calling her all types of this, that, and the fourth. And I feel like Brittany B tried to keep it cute for a little while. But you can only take so much shade. And then she was like, I'm not even really trying to talk about, you. He called them a bowling ball and a pin. I said... Let me tell you something. I don't know what it is, but Brittany B be making me laugh every now and then. I don't know why. It was just her shade be making me tickle a little bit. But Paris was like, "What did you just call me? Like, what did you like?" Da 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 da. She gonna get up. She tossing drinks. She trying to fight in the damn tiny ass party bus, child. And apparently, we see in the preview of next week, she get kicked out. Zell get kicked out. They yelling down the street, talking shit. I'm like, and they're the ones that get kicked out the damn bus, and they're like, well, why is Brittany not kicked out? Like, what the fuck's going on with that? And it's just like, girl, because technically Brittany didn't do anything. She was just sitting there minding her business, and then y'all came over there with the shit, which I understand because the last time they had an interaction with her, they kicked her out the party, so of course they got beef. But child, I'm ready for the season to be over with because it just seemed like they don't have any anchoring storyline that's like really captivating right now. I don't know. But I started it. We're gonna finish it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Like, share, subscribe. Washington.